It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Okay, we are pleased now to be joined by Brad Keselowski, and Brad will be attempting to qualify for his first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event here at Lowe's Motor Speedway this weekend. He'll be driving the number 25 GoDaddy.com Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And Brad, we were here a few weeks ago to make that announcement, and here we are again. So congratulations, and your thoughts about this weekend.
Well, certainly looking forward to running here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Had a great run here in the nationwide race in the spring, and got a great opportunity ahead of me to drive for Rick Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports with Lance McGrew and GoDaddy, and looking forward to all that entails. It's going to be a tough show to make. I think this might just be the toughest show all year to make with the field that I've seen. So it's going to be tough, but looking forward to it.
If you have a question for Brad, raise your hand. We'll bring you the wireless. Questions for Brad. Raise your hand. We've got one right over here. Go ahead.
What percentage of the week has your television been on the Web Channel?
Actually, none. I have not watched it one bit. You know, I've kind of conceded that it is what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, you know, actually, I kind of felt bad about it last night, and I woke up this morning and saw the ground was wet and didn't feel very good about it. But from what I've been hearing, it sounds like it's going to be all right. There's going to be scattered showers, and you should be able to get it dried off. I'm pulling for that anyway.
Other questions for Brad? Right here? Anybody? Right here? Gentleman with the ball cap on.
Brad, you got the chance to run the Sprint Cup practice last week at Talladega. Obviously, not the same thing. There's not a lot you can compare from track to track, but did you pick up anything at all in making your debut this weekend by being in the garage in the racing conditions last weekend?
I think every time I get in one of the Sprint Cup cars, whether it's to test or, like you said last week, to practice, yeah, it helps. It makes you feel more comfortable. I've had, you know, as you make it through the ranks, you go through different series, and this is by far the most comfortable I've ever felt going up a level. I feel very comfortable with the people I'm surrounded with, the equipment I'm surrounded with, and you know, this is one of the first times I can say I moved up and felt like, you know, this is for me. I can do this. So I'm excited about that for sure.
Other questions? We've got one with Kenny. Let's go back to Rick, and then we'll come back to David. Go.
Kenny Burge, NASCAR team. Brad, as much testing as you've done for the team, how much can they actually gather from that for their other drivers? Because we're always hearing, well, this guy doesn't like this feel or this guy does. I mean, if you're going fast in it, what are the chances that that's going to work for somebody else?
I would say, you know, probably 75% of the things that work for me are going to work for the rest of the drivers. You know, I've tested with all 5 Hendrick drivers now, with you know, Mark being in the future there, and every one of us are different, and not just that much different. We're a huge amount different, and so that's been really an eye opener. You know, you get to the point where when you're driving these race cars and you get behind another driver, you're like, well, I'm doing all I can, and there's nothing more I can do, until you actually get to go testing with them and see their data and see how much differently they're doing things. And then it starts to all kind of gather up, like, wow, there's a reason why Jimmy's so good at Charlotte, and there's a reason why Jeff gets around Martinsville. And you see those little things that each driver does different, and it makes a difference. So you know, that's very interesting. I feel like I bring a little bit to the table from the standpoint that I have no preconceived notions, you know, of what's supposed to work and what's not supposed to work. So I think that helps out the other drivers. And then, of course, anytime I can watch them, you know, there's a reason why they're at this level, and they do a lot of things right, and I learn from that as well.
Go ahead, Rick.
Rick Minner with Atlanta Constitution. Just kind of a follow-up, Brad. How many laps, how many days have you run in a Cup car this year?
Wow, a number? I'm going to say it's got to be somewhere around 10 or 12 days, so I would say, I don't know, probably about 500 laps, something like that, give or take. Yeah, we did the Indy tire test Monday and Tuesday, which was really good.
Other questions? David had one. Go ahead.
Brad, when you hear Jimmy, you were just talking about car owners taking risks on younger drivers and that whole thing. And when Rick Hendrick says that, you're the future of the company and all that stuff that was last week, do you try just not to worry about that big picture and just try to concentrate on your little piece of the world? Is that how you deal with all that stuff, or how do you deal with all that?
I think it's kind of funny that Jimmy was up here before me, because I think there's a lot of similarities between us two and what we've come from and what we've done. And I feel like I'm being put in the same situation or opportunity that Jimmy had, where you had a nationwide career that or trucks. I ran the trucks before I ran the nationwide, where it was just it was nothing to write home about, and but we didn't have the best equipment every week, and I think that's the best way you can learn. When you run 15th to 20th every week, I think that's how you learn. You don't learn a lot winning races. And when I see young development drivers that just go to ARCA with the best car and lead every lap and win races, I'm like, what'd you learn? So I think Jimmy and I have a lot of similarities as far as that's concerned. And I think that's how we've learned to race, learn how to communicate with our team, and learn how to stay motivated. And so that's exciting to me to have him up here and saying all those same things, because I feel the same way about Mr. Hendrick taking a chance on me. I feel like up until getting with Dale and the 88 nationwide team, that I never had that real opportunity. So it's just cool how that's all going to work out, and I'm looking forward to it, like I said.
Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers. Brad, you talked about just your testing experience with Jimmy and Jeff, and saying you understand why Jimmy's so good here, Jeff's so good at Martinsville. What are the things that kind of surprised you or shocked you about those guys at those two particular places?
They all have different confidence levels. That's kind of the thing that I thought was funny. When Jeff heard what races I was going to run, Charlotte and Texas, the first thing he asked me was, "Why'd you pick them two?" And I said, "Well, what's wrong with Charlotte and Texas?" So, man, those tracks are tough to get around. And, that just goes back to how he struggled at Texas and how, that just doesn't fit his style. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And, then you talk to Jimmy, you're like, yeah, them two tracks would be great for you. So, that's just funny how the different styles work out. I think Jeff appreciates the tracks where you're a little more aggressive, or you can be more aggressive with your car and find speed. So, I see that in him, where you look at Jimmy's more of a laid-back driver, and, maybe a little less aggressive and a little smoother, and that's part of his success. And then, Dale and Mark are both different as well.
Any additional questions for Brad? We've got one here. Jared has one.
Yeah, Brad, Jared Turner, NASCAR scene. My question was, is there anything you can do or plan to do just to sort of keep your nerves calm through this whole process today of trying to qualify into the show?
Yeah, that's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. Try not to think about it. Try to just do it. It's kind of a mind over matter type of deal there. So, I think it's going to be tough. The whole rain situation makes it even more stressful, which I didn't think that was possible. But, the hardest part, as I've said before, is going to be getting out of the nationwide car practice and going straight to Cup qualifying, where it's your first lap that's going to be your fastest, and there's no time to adjust. You just got to do it. So that part's going to be hard, and I'm a little nervous about that. But, trying to keep it in perspective the way it's looking now, I'd just be happy to get a chance to qualify. So we'll see how that all works out.
Any other questions for Brad before we release him? Anybody else? Certainly wish you a lot of luck this weekend, and thanks for coming by.
Thanks, everyone.